It was almost midnight when the last of their friends finally left the apartment. Jake stood in his living room, looking at the empty pizza boxes and scattered cups everywhere. The dinner party had been fun, but now he was tired and ready to sleep. "Well, that was a great evening," said Lily, who was still there helping him clean up. She had stayed behind when everyone else left, saying she wanted to help with the mess. Jake didn't mind. Lily was easy to talk to, and they had become good friends over the past few months through their group. Jake had met Lily at his friend Tom's birthday party 6 months ago. She was the kind of person who could talk to anyone about anything. Tonight, she had kept everyone laughing with her funny stories about her new job at the design company. But now that they were alone, their conversation felt different somehow. "You don't have to help with all this," Jake said, picking up paper plates from the coffee table. "I can handle it in the morning." "It's fine," Lily replied, carrying glasses to the kitchen. "Besides, I'm not in a hurry to get home. My new place is all the way across town, and the drive this late makes me nervous." Jake looked at her with concern. He had forgotten that she had moved to a new apartment last month. The drive from his place to hers was at least 40 minutes, maybe more with late-night traffic. "That is pretty far," he said. "Are you sure you're okay driving that late? The roads can be weird at night." Lily paused while washing a glass. "Yeah, I'll be fine. I've done it before." But Jake could hear something in her voice that didn't sound completely sure. He had always been the type of person who worried about his friend's safety. When his sister used to visit from college, he would always make sure she got home okay. It was just how he was raised. As they continued cleaning, their conversation flowed easily. Lily told him about her struggles with decorating her new place. She couldn't decide what color to paint her bedroom walls. Jake shared his own moving horror stories from 2 years ago when he first got this apartment. "The movers lost an entire box of my kitchen stuff," he said, laughing. "I had to eat with plastic spoons for 3 weeks." "That's terrible," Lily giggled. "I'm still missing half my books. I think they're in a box somewhere, but I have no idea." "Which one?" They talked about work, about their college days, about places they wanted to travel. Jake found himself really enjoying their conversation. Lily was smart and funny, and she had this way of making even boring topics interesting. When she mentioned wanting to visit Japan someday, her eyes lit up in a way that made Jake smile. "I've always wanted to try real sushi there," she said. "Not the stuff we get here, but like actual fresh fish from the market." "That sounds amazing," Jake replied. "I've never been anywhere outside the country. My family wasn't really the traveling type." As they finished cleaning the kitchen, Jake noticed it was getting really late. The clock on his microwave showed 12:47 a.m. He felt bad that Lily was still there, especially knowing she had that long drive ahead of her. "Wow, it's almost 1 in the morning," he said. "I feel terrible keeping you here so late." Lily looked at the clock and sighed. "Yeah, it is pretty late. That drive is going to be rough." Jake thought for a moment. He had a comfortable couch, extra blankets, and it seemed silly for her to drive so far when she was probably tired. It was just being a good friend, right? "You know what?" he said. "Why don't you just crash here tonight? I mean, if you want to. The couch is actually pretty comfortable, and I have extra pillows and blankets. It's better than driving across town when you're tired." Lily looked surprised but pleased. "Are you sure? I don't want to be a bother." "Not at all," Jake said quickly. "I'd feel better knowing you got home safe, and this way you don't have to worry about the drive. Plus, you can leave in the morning when there's less traffic." "That's really sweet of you," Lily said. And Jake noticed she smiled in a way that seemed different somehow. Warmer, maybe. "I'd actually love that. Thank you." Jake went to his bedroom closet and pulled out his extra pillows and his softest blanket. He had bought it last winter when his heating wasn't working well, and it was incredibly warm and cozy. "Here you go," he said, bringing the bedding to the living room. "The bathroom is right down the hall if you need anything, and there's water and snacks in the kitchen if you get hungry." "You're being so thoughtful," Lily said, taking the blanket from him when she did. Her fingers brushed against his hand for just a moment longer than necessary. Jake felt a little flutter in his stomach but pushed it away. He was probably just tired and reading too much into things. Lily was his friend, and he was just being nice. That's what friends do for each other. Well, he said, yawning, I should probably get some sleep. I have that early meeting tomorrow. With my boss, of course, Lily said. Thanks again for letting me stay. This is much better than that scary drive home. Jake headed toward his bedroom door, then turned back. Good night, Lily. Sleep well. Good night, she replied, but something in her voice sounded different, softer somehow, with a tone Jake couldn't quite understand. As Jake closed his bedroom door, he couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed during the evening. Maybe it was just because they had spent time alone together for the first time. They had always hung out in groups before tonight. He changed into his sleep clothes and brushed his teeth, thinking about their conversation. Lily had seemed more relaxed tonight, more open than usual. She had laughed at his jokes more, and he had caught her looking at him a few times in a way that felt different from how friends usually look at each other. But Jake pushed those thoughts away. He had just gotten out of a long relationship 3 months ago, and he wasn't looking for anything complicated. Besides, Lily was part of their friend group, and he didn't want to make things weird for everyone. He climbed into bed, but sleep didn't come easily. His mind kept replaying moments from the evening. The way Lily had smiled when he offered his couch. How her hand had lingered on his when she took the blanket. The way she had said goodnight. Jake stared at the ceiling, wondering if he was overthinking everything. His ex-girlfriend had always told him he was bad at reading signals from people. Maybe he was just imagining things that weren't really there. After about 20 minutes of lying awake, Jake finally started to feel sleepy. Tomorrow would be a normal day, and this would all seem silly in the morning light. Lily would go home. They would text about what a fun evening it had been, and everything would go back to normal. He had no idea that in the next room, Lily was lying on his couch having very different thoughts about what had just happened between them. Jake had just started to drift off to sleep when he heard a soft creaking sound. At first, he thought it might be the old pipes in his building or maybe a neighbor walking around upstairs. But then he realized the sound was coming from his own apartment. His bedroom door was slowly opening. Jake sat up in bed, confused and a little startled. The hallway light was off, so he could only see a shadow in the doorway. For a second, he wondered if someone had broken into his apartment. His heart started beating faster. Jake? Came a whisper. It was Lily's voice. Lily? What's wrong? Are you okay? Jake asked, reaching over to turn on his bedside lamp. The soft light filled the room, and he could see Lily standing in his doorway. She was wearing one of his old college t-shirts that she must have found somewhere in his apartment. It was way too big for her, hanging down almost to her knees. Her hair was a little messy, and she looked nervous but also determined. I'm fine, she said quietly, stepping into his room. I thought maybe you wanted me to come in here when you said goodnight earlier. Jake blinked several times, trying to understand what she meant. What do you mean? Lily took another small step forward. Well, when you said goodnight, it felt like maybe you were inviting me to stay with you. And here, she gestured around his bedroom. Jake felt his face get warm with embarrassment. This was definitely not what he had expected to happen tonight. Oh, he said, not knowing what else to say at first. I mean, Lily continued, sitting down on the edge of his bed, we had such a nice time tonight. Just the two of us, and you were so sweet, offering to let me stay. The way you looked at me when you said goodnight, I thought maybe you felt the same way I do. Jake's mind was racing. He could see that Lily had completely misunderstood his intentions. When he said goodnight, he literally just meant goodnight. Sleep well, see you in the morning. But clearly, she had heard something entirely different. Lily, he said gently, trying to choose his words carefully. I think there might be some confusion here. Her face immediately changed. The hopeful expression she had been wearing started to fade, replaced by uncertainty. Confusion about what? Jake felt terrible. He could see that he was about hurting her feelings, but he needed to be honest. When I said goodnight, I actually just meant goodnight, like sleep well on the couch. I wasn't trying to. I didn't mean for you to come in here. The color drained from Lily's face. She looked like she wanted to disappear into the floor. "Oh my God," she whispered, covering her face with her hands. "Oh my God, I'm so stupid." "No, you're not stupid," Jake said quickly. "Not at all." I can see how there might have been some mixed signals. But Lily was already standing up, backing toward the door. "I can't believe I just did that. I'm so embarrassed right now." Her voice was shaking a little. Jake got out of bed, wanting to make her feel better. "Lily, please don't be embarrassed. It's okay. These things happen." "No, it's not okay," she said, shaking her head. "I completely misread everything. God, you must think I'm crazy." "I don't think you're crazy at all," Jake said honestly. "Look, maybe we both could have been clearer about things. I'm not great at communicating sometimes." Lily was quiet for a moment, just standing there looking mortified. "I thought, all evening I felt like there was something between us. The way we were talking and laughing and how comfortable everything felt. And then when you offered to let me stay and the way you said goodnight, I really thought you were interested in me." Jake felt a pang of guilt. Had he accidentally led her on without realizing it? "I did have a really good time tonight," he said carefully. "You're easy to talk to, and I enjoy spending time with you. But I was just being friendly. I didn't realize you were thinking about it in a different way." "Right," Lily said, nodding quickly. "Of course, just friendly. I get it now." An awkward silence filled the room. Jake didn't know what to say to make things better. He liked Lily as a friend, but he honestly hadn't thought about her romantically. He was still getting over his recent breakup, and dating anyone in their friend group seemed complicated. "I should go back to the couch," Lily said finally. "Pretend this never happened." "You don't have to pretend anything," Jake said. "We're both adults. Sometimes these misunderstandings happen." But Lily was already heading for the door. "I'm really sorry, Jake. I feel so stupid right now." "Don't feel stupid," he called after her, but she was already gone, closing the door behind her. Jake stood there in his room for a moment, not sure what to do. He could hear Lily moving around in the living room, probably getting settled back. On the couch, he wanted to go out there and talk to her more, to make sure she was okay. But he also thought she might need some space right now. He turned off his lamp and got back into bed, but sleep was impossible now. His mind was spinning with everything that had just happened. Had he really given her the wrong idea? He thought back through their evening together, trying to remember if he had said or done anything that could be taken as flirting. Maybe he had been more friendly than usual. He had enjoyed their conversation more than he expected to, and when she smiled at his jokes, he had felt happy about making her laugh. But he thought that was just normal friend stuff. Jake realized that his ex-girlfriend might have been right when she said he was bad at understanding social situations. Maybe he really didn't know how to act around women without sending the wrong signals. In the living room, he could hear Lily moving around restlessly on the couch. He felt terrible that she was probably lying there feeling embarrassed and confused. The last thing he had wanted was to hurt her feelings or make things weird between them. But at the same time, Jake was glad he had been honest. It would have been much worse if he had let her think he was interested when he wasn't. That would have just led to bigger problems later. He stared at the ceiling, wondering how tomorrow morning was going to go. Would Lily want to leave right away? Would she be able to look at him without feeling embarrassed? Would this ruin their friendship? Jake had always valued his friendship with Lily. She was funny and smart, and she brought good energy to their friend group. He really hoped this one misunderstanding wouldn't mess that up. As he finally started to drift off to sleep, Jake made a mental note to be more careful about how he acted around friends in the future. Apparently, being nice and friendly could be misunderstood as something more, and he never wanted to accidentally hurt someone's feelings like this again. But he also couldn't help wondering if maybe their other friends had seen something between him and Lily that he hadn't noticed himself. Had everyone else thought they were interested in each other? That would make the situation even more complicated. Tomorrow was definitely going to be an interesting morning. The next morning was the most awkward breakfast Jake had ever experienced in his life. Lily was already awake when he came out of his bedroom, sitting on the couch with the blanket folded neatly beside her. She had changed back into her clothes from the night before and was scrolling through her phone, clearly trying to look busy. Morning, Jake said carefully, not sure how to act after what had happened. Morning, Lily replied without looking up from her phone. Her voice was polite but distant, nothing like the warm, easy conversation they had shared the night before. Jake went to the kitchen and started making coffee, hoping the familiar routine would make things feel more normal. Want some coffee? He offered. No thanks, Lily said quickly. I should probably get going soon. I have some things to do today. Jake knew she was lying. It was Saturday morning, and the night before she had mentioned having no plans for the weekend. But he didn't push it. He could tell she just wanted to leave and forget about the whole thing. They barely spoke while Jake drank his coffee. Every few minutes, one of them would try to say something normal, like commenting on the weather or asking about weekend plans. But the conversation would die immediately. The comfortable friendship they had built over months felt like it had disappeared. Overnight, when Lily finally left, she gave him a quick, fake smile and said thanks for letting her stay. Jake watched from his window as she got in her car and drove away faster than necessary. He had a sinking feeling that he had lost a good friend. But the real problem started a few days later. On Monday evening, Jake got a text from his friend Ryan. Dude, what happened with you and Lily? She seemed really upset at lunch today. Jake stared at his phone, not sure how to respond. He had hoped they could keep what happened between them private. But apparently Lily had told someone. Before he could reply to Ryan, his phone buzzed again. This time it was a text from another friend. Amy, hey? Lily told me something happened at your place Saturday night. Are you okay? Jake realized that word was getting around their friend group, and probably not in a good way. He decided to call Ryan directly to try to control the story before it got too twisted. Look, Jake explained to Ryan over the phone. There was just a misunderstanding. Lily thought I was interested in her romantically, but I'm not. We talked about it and cleared things up. It's not a big deal. But Ryan's response made Jake's heart sink. Man, that's not what I heard. Amy said Lily told her you led her on all night and then rejected her when she tried to kiss you. What? That's not what happened at all, Jake said, feeling frustrated. She didn't try to kiss me. She just misunderstood when I said goodnight. I'm just telling you what I heard, Ryan said. And honestly, a few people are saying you shouldn't have let her stay over if you weren't interested. That's kind of a mixed signal, don't you think? Jake felt like he was going crazy. How had offering his couch to a friend who lived far away become such a big deal? I was just being nice. It was late and she had a long drive home. I get it, Ryan said, but his tone suggested he wasn't completely convinced. But you know how Lily is. She's had a crush on you for months. Everyone could see it except you. Apparently, this was news to Jake. Everyone could see it. What do? You mean, come on, man. The way she always laughed extra hard at your jokes. How she always found excuses to sit next to you at group dinners. She's been pretty obvious about liking you. Jake thought back to all their group hangouts over the past few months. Had Lily really been flirting with him this whole time? Had he been that clueless? And if everyone else noticed, why hadn't anyone said anything to him? The conversation with Ryan left Jake feeling terrible. Not only had he hurt Lily's feelings, but apparently he had been blind to signals that were obvious to everyone else. In their friend group, over the next week, things got worse. Jake started noticing that some of his friends were acting differently. Around him, Amy barely spoke to him at their usual Wednesday night trivia. When he suggested meeting up for drinks on Friday, half the group suddenly had other plans. The worst part was when Jake ran into Tom at the grocery store. Tom had been the one who introduced Jake to their whole friend group, and they had always gotten along well. Hey Tom, Jake said, genuinely happy to see a friendly face. But Tom's greeting was cold. "Oh. Hey Jake, how's it going? I haven't seen you in a while." Tom shrugged. "Been busy. You know how it is." Jake could tell something was wrong. "Is everything okay? You seem kind of off." Tom looked uncomfortable. "Look, I don't want to get in the middle of drama, but what you did to Lily wasn't cool, man." "What I did to Lily?" Jake felt his frustration rising. "What exactly do you think I did?" "I heard you invited her over, let her think you were interested, and then embarrassed her when she tried to make a move." Jake couldn't believe how distorted the story had become. "That's not what happened. I offered her my couch because it was late and she lived far away. I was just being a good friend." Tom looked skeptical. "Right, and you had no idea she liked you?" "Honestly, no, I didn't. I'm apparently terrible at reading those kinds of signals." "Well, maybe you should pay more attention next time," Tom said. "Lily is a good person, and she didn't deserve to be humiliated like that." Jake left the grocery store feeling angry and confused. How had he become the bad guy in this situation? All he had done was try to be honest and kind, but the more he thought about it, the more Jake started to doubt himself. Maybe Ryan and Tom were right. Maybe he should have known Lily liked him. Maybe offering his couch really had sent the wrong message. Maybe he was just bad at understanding how relationships worked. Jake's confidence took a serious hit. He started second-guessing every interaction he had with women. When the barista at his coffee shop smiled at him, he wondered if she was flirting or just being friendly. When a coworker complimented his presentation, he worried she might think he was interested in her. The worst part was that Jake really missed Lily's friendship. She had always been easy to talk to, and she had this way of making boring situations fun. Their friend group felt different without her regular presence, and Jake knew it was his fault. He thought about texting her to apologize, but he wasn't even sure what he should apologize for. For being nice, for not realizing she liked him, for not being interested in her romantically. None of those things felt like real mistakes. Jake also started wondering if he had been wrong about his own feelings. Had there been a spark between them that he had ignored when he replayed their evening together? He could see moments that might have felt romantic, the easy conversation, the comfortable silences, the way she had smiled at him. But even thinking about it now, Jake couldn't honestly say he felt romantic attraction to Lily. He liked her as a person, enjoyed her company, and thought she was smart and funny. But that felt like friendship to him, not romance. 2 weeks after the incident, Jake was still dealing with the aftermath. Some friends had started inviting him and Lily to different events. To avoid awkwardness, others seemed to be taking sides. The comfortable friend group they had all enjoyed was fracturing, and Jake felt responsible. He realized that this one misunderstanding had taught him something important about how complicated human relationships could be. Good intentions weren't always enough. Sometimes being kind could be misunderstood, and sometimes trying to do the right thing could still end up hurting people. Jake just wished he knew how to fix it. 3 weeks had passed since the incident, and Jake was getting tired of the whole situation. He missed his normal friend group. He missed hanging out without drama, and honestly, he missed talking to Lily. Despite everything that had happened, she had been a good friend, and he hated how things had ended between them. The breaking point came when their mutual friend Diana decided she had enough of everyone walking on eggshells. Diana was the type of person who didn't like drama and always tried to fix problems instead of avoiding them. "This is ridiculous," Diana announced to Jake over the phone on a Thursday evening. "You and Lily are both being childish, and it's affecting everyone. I'm having a small get-together this Saturday, and I'm inviting both of you. You're going to talk this out like adults." Jake felt his stomach drop. "Diana, I don't think that's a good idea. Things are pretty awkward between us right now." "Exactly why you need to talk," Diana said firmly. "Look, I don't know exactly what happened between you two, and honestly, I don't care. But this silent treatment thing is making everyone uncomfortable. We're all friends here, and friends work through their problems. What if Lily doesn't want to talk to me?" Jake asked. "Then that's her choice to make," Diana replied. "But I'm giving both of you the opportunity. What you do with it is up to you. Saturday evening came faster than Jake wanted. He almost didn't go to Diana's apartment, but he realized that avoiding the situation forever wasn't going to help anyone. Maybe Diana was right. Maybe they needed to have an actual conversation about what happened. When Jake arrived at Diana's place, he was relieved to see several other friends there. At least it wouldn't be just him and Lily staring at each other awkwardly. But as the evening went on, he noticed that people kept finding excuses to leave early. First, Ryan remembered he had to call his mom. Then Amy suddenly got a headache and needed to go home. Tom had an early morning and couldn't stay late. One by one, their friends disappeared until it was just Jake, Lily, and Diana. Well, Diana said, standing up and grabbing her purse. I just remembered I need to run to the store before it closes. You to make yourselves comfortable. I'll be back in a while. Jake and Lily both started to protest, but Diana was already heading for the door. Don't leave until you've talked, she called over her shoulder. I mean it. The apartment fell silent after Diana left. Jake and Lily sat on opposite ends of the couch, both looking anywhere except at each other. The TV was on, but neither of them was really watching it. Finally, Jake decided someone had to break the ice. So, he said quietly, "This is awkward." Lily let out a small laugh despite herself. "Yeah, it really is." Diana set us up. Jake continued, "I don't think she's actually going to the store." "Probably not," Lily agreed. "She's been texting me all week telling me I need to talk to you." Jake turned to look at her properly for the first time in weeks. She looked tired, and he could tell the situation had been bothering her as much as it had been bothering him. "Lily," he said gently, "I think we need to have an honest conversation about what happened." She nodded slowly. "Yeah, we probably do. I want you to know that I never meant to hurt your feelings or embarrass you," Jake started. "That night, when I offered you the couch, I really was just trying to be helpful. I didn't want you driving home so late." Lily was quiet for a moment. "I know," she said finally. I know that now. But that night, everything felt different to me." "Different how?" Jake asked. Lily took a deep breath. "I guess I should be honest too. I've had feelings for you for a while now. Months, actually. And that night, when it was just us talking and laughing, it felt like maybe you might feel the same way." Jake felt a mix of guilt and relief. At least now he understood where the misunderstanding had come from. "I had no idea you felt that way about me," he said honestly. "Really?" Lily looked surprised. "Because everyone else seemed to know. Ryan told me it was obvious." "That's what Ryan told me too," Jake said with a rueful smile. "Apparently, I'm terrible at reading these kinds of signals." They sat in silence for a moment, both processing this information. "When you said goodnight that night," Lily continued, "and the way you looked at me when you said it, I really thought you were trying to tell me something without actually saying it." Jake tried to remember exactly how he had said goodnight. "I think I was just being friendly. But maybe I was feeling something too and didn't realize it." Lily looked at him with interest. "What do you mean?" Jake thought carefully about his words. I did have a really good time talking with you that night. Better than I expected. And I do think you're smart and funny and easy to be around. But I guess I interpreted those feelings as friendship." "And now?" Lily asked quietly. Jake was quiet for a long moment, trying to be honest with himself and with her. "I still think of you as a friend," he said gently. "I wish I could say something different, but I don't want to lie to you." Lily nodded, and Jake could see she was a little disappointed but not surprised. "I appreciate you being honest. But," Jake continued, "I also want you to know that our friendship means a lot to me. These past few weeks without talking to you have been really hard. I miss having you as a friend." "I miss that too," Lily admitted. "I've been so embarrassed about what happened that I've been avoiding everyone." "You don't need to be embarrassed," Jake said. "Honestly, I think the problem was that we both made assumptions instead of just being direct about what we were thinking." Lily laughed a little. "Yeah, communication isn't our strong point. Apparently, maybe we can work on that," Jake suggested. They talked for another hour, really talked. in a way they hadn't done since that night at Jake's apartment. Lily explained how she had been interpreting his behavior over the past few months, and Jake realized that he really had been sending mixed signals without meaning to. "I think I'm just naturally friendly," Jake said, "but I never thought about how that might come across to someone who has feelings for me. And I think I was seeing what I wanted to see," Lily admitted. "I was so hopeful that you might like me back that I read romance into normal friendship." As they talked, Jake realized something important. The reason their friendship had worked so well was because they were both genuinely good people who cared about each other. That hadn't changed just because of one misunderstanding. "So where does this leave us?" Lily asked as their conversation started winding down. "I'd like to be friends again," Jake said. "Real friends, with better communication this time." Lily smiled, and for the first time in weeks, it looked genuine. "I'd like that too. But I need to be honest. It might take me a little time to get over my feelings for you." "That's fair," Jake said. "And I need to be more aware of how my actions might be interpreted. I don't ever want to accidentally lead someone on again." When Diana returned from her very long trip to the store, she found Jake and Lily laughing together on the couch, looking more relaxed than either of them had in weeks. "Well," Diana said with satisfaction, "this looks much better." "Thanks for the setup," Jake said. Even though it was pretty obvious, sometimes obvious is what people need. Diana replied with a grin. "So are we good? Can we all hang out together?" Again, without it being weird, Jake and Lily looked at each other and nodded. "We're good," Lily said. "It might take a little time to feel completely normal again, but we're good." For the first time in weeks, Jake felt like things might actually work out okay. 6 months later, Jake was getting ready for another dinner party. This time, it was at Lily's new apartment, and she had invited their whole friend group to celebrate her recent promotion at work. As Jake picked out what to wear, he couldn't help but smile at how much things had changed since that awkward night at his place. The conversation he and Lily had at Diana's apartment had been a turning point, but it hadn't fixed everything overnight. The first few times they all hung out together after that, things were still a little strange. Jake found himself being extra careful about everything he said to Lily, and she seemed to be doing the same thing. But slowly, over weeks and then months, they had built a new kind of friendship. It was different from before, more honest, more direct, and in some ways stronger. They had learned to communicate better, not just with each other, but with everyone in their friend group. Jake had also learned a lot about himself during those months. He started paying more attention to how he interacted with people, especially women. Not in a paranoid way, but in a more thoughtful way. He realized that his natural friendliness, combined with his habit of not being direct about his feelings, could create confusion. When he started dating again a few months later, Jake made sure to be clear about his intentions from the beginning. If he was interested in someone romantically, he said so. If he just wanted to be friends, he made that clear too. It felt awkward at first, but it prevented a lot of misunderstandings. Lily had also grown from the experience. She told Jake later that the whole situation had made her realize she had a pattern of reading romance into friendships when she wanted someone to like her. She started being more direct about her own feelings too, instead of hoping people would guess what she was thinking. "I used to think being subtle was romantic," she had told Jake one day when they were having coffee together. "But really, it just led to a lot of confusion and hurt feelings." Tonight's dinner party was special because it would be the first time Jake and Lily were hosting something together since the incident. Well, not exactly together. It was Lily's party at her place, but she had asked Jake to help with the cooking, since he was good at making his famous pasta sauce. When Jake arrived at Lily's apartment that evening, he was impressed by how nicely she had decorated it. The last time he had been there was a few weeks after she moved in, when the place was still full of boxes and unpainted walls. Now it looked like a real home, with warm colors and comfortable furniture. "This looks amazing," Jake said, looking round. "You've really made this place your own." "Thanks," Lily said, smiling. "It took me forever to decide on paint colors, but I'm happy with how it turned out." They worked together in the kitchen, preparing food for their friends. It felt natural and comfortable, the way their friendship had always felt before things got complicated. But there was an added layer of understanding between them now that hadn't been there before. "Remember when you couldn't decide what color to paint your bedroom?" Jake asked while chopping vegetables. "You must have asked me about it 10 times. That night at my place," Lily laughed. "I was so nervous that night. I kept talking about random stuff because I didn't know how to say what I actually wanted to say." "What did you want to say?" Jake asked curiously. "That I liked you," Lily said simply. "That I had been thinking about you a lot, and I was hoping you might feel the same way." Jake paused in his chopping. Even now, 6 months later, these direct conversations still surprised him sometimes. "I wish you had just told me that. I wish I had too." Lily agreed. It would have saved us both a lot of trouble. Their friends started arriving around 7, and Jake was happy to see that the group dynamic felt normal again. For a while after the incident, people had been weird around both him and Lily, not sure how to act or what to say. But time and honest communication had healed most of those awkward feelings. Ryan showed up with his new girlfriend, who Jake liked immediately. Amy brought homemade dessert. Tom came with funny stories from his new job. Diane arrived fashionably late, as always, with a bottle of wine and a satisfied smile at seeing everyone getting along so well. During dinner, the conversation flowed easily. They talked about work, about movies they had seen, about weekend plans. Jake found himself watching Lily as she laughed at Tom's stories and helped Amy serve dessert. She seemed genuinely happy, more relaxed and confident than she had been before their big misunderstanding. At one point during the evening, Jake overheard Lily talking to Amy about a guy she had met at work. "He's really sweet," Lily was saying, "and the best part is, he actually asked me out directly. No guessing games, no trying to figure out what he meant. He just said, 'I'd like to take you to dinner this weekend if you're interested.' That's so refreshing," Amy replied. "I hate trying to decode what guys are thinking." Jake smiled to himself. It seemed like Lily had taken their lessons about direct communication to heart. In her dating life as the evening wound down and people started to leave, Jake helped Lily clean up the dishes. It reminded him of that night 6 months ago. But this time the atmosphere was completely different. There was no tension, no confusion, no mixed signals, just two friends cleaning up after a successful party. "Thanks for helping tonight," Lily said as they finished putting the last of the dishes away. "The pasta was a huge hit. Thanks for inviting me," Jake replied. "It's nice to see everyone together and happy again." They were both quiet for a moment, thinking about how much had changed. "You know," Lily said, "as embarrassing as that whole situation was, I'm kind of glad it happened." Jake looked at her in surprise. "Really? Why?" "Because it taught us both how to be better at relationships," Lily explained. "Not just with each other, but with everyone. I think we're both more honest now, and that's made all of our friendships stronger." Jake nodded. "You're right. I never thought about it that way, but you're right." As Jake got ready to leave, he paused at the door. "Good night, Lily," he said with a grin. "And just so we're completely clear, I mean that in the most literal. Sleep well and your own bed weight possible." Lily burst out laughing. "Good night, Jake. I'll be staying right here in my own apartment. Thank you very much." They hugged goodbye, a normal, friendly hug with no confusion or mixed signals. And Jake headed home feeling grateful for how things had turned out. The drive home gave Jake time to think about everything that had happened over the past 6 months. What had started as an embarrassing misunderstanding had actually taught him valuable lessons about communication, friendship, and being honest about feelings. He had learned that good intentions weren't always enough if you weren't clear about what you meant. He had learned that assumptions could hurt people even when you didn't mean to. And he had learned that sometimes the best friendships were the ones that survived difficult conversations and came out stronger on the other side. Most importantly, Jake had learned that it was possible to have an awkward, embarrassing situation with someone and still maintain a good relationship with them, as long as both people were willing to be honest, forgive each other's mistakes, and work on doing better in the future. As he pulled into his parking spot at home, Jake's phone buzzed. With a text from Lily, "Thanks again for tonight. You're a good friend." Jake smiled and texted back, "You too. See you next week for trivia." "Definitely," came her quick reply. Jake put his phone away and headed up to his apartment, feeling grateful for second chances, good friends, and the lessons that come from working through difficult situations instead of running away from them. Sometimes the best relationships were built not on avoiding problems, but on learning how to solve them together.